Ms. Rousseau, are we ready to go?
You are live, Your Worship.
All right, thank you. All right, Council, I'd like to call this regular council meeting of October 25th, 2022 to order. Your last official meeting sitting around this table. So we want to thank you, and I'll go into that in a bit. But here sitting beside me is our Vice President of the Royal Canadian Legion, Gail Bernacki. She's here to present the first poppies of the year, so we get those, and then the poppy fund can start, I believe, tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, actually, today is the kickoff day all across Canada.
Oh, right. Okay, good.
Yep.
So, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to say I understand most of you are leaving council, and thank you very much for your service the last years. Unfortunately, more of you didn't stay. I think it's always good when council has a few tried and true people, but that's great. Thank you very much. I'm here basically because as you know, the Legion is basically only about remembrance. That's the main thing. Well, two things: remembrance and supporting veterans however we can. Nowadays, we don't have so many veterans as in the days when the Legion began. But nonetheless, we do have people we support, and we also have, include RCMP members who need assistance as well, retired or in those who are not capable of looking after themselves or whatever. So we have, so to kick off the campaign all across Canada at various places, Legion presidents, ours is away, so I have this duty, will be as much as they can presenting a poppy to the mayor of the city to start off the campaign for the year 2022. So, Terry, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay.
And I have brought a copy for each of the rest of you. And what I'll do is I'm going to leave here, so I'm out of your way, and I'll just gather up my goods and go this way. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And drop them all on the floor. Thanks.
Gail.
I can do it quickly this there. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Good. Won't waste your time. Thank you.
All right, Council, I'd like to have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda. Councilor Rousseau, Councilor Palmer, all in favor. Motion's carried. Adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting from October 11th. Councilor Palmer, second by Councilor Charlotte, all in favor. Motion's carried. Any business arising from those minutes? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to announcements from the mayor. So as I said briefly, short time ago, this is your last official meeting. I want to say thank you to all of you for the service you put in to the community. Wish you all well as you go on and carry on your journey in whatever direction it takes you. And just say thank you. Thank you doesn't seem to be enough for the work that you perform, but really appreciate all that you've contributed to the community. You've made this place a better community. So again, thank you, and wish you all well. All right, we're going to move on to recommendations from Committee of the Whole, 8A. Someone want to put that motion on the table for me, please? Councilor Charlotte.
That the draft PRC 9 ICE allocation policy be brought forward to council for formalization.
Second for the motion, Councilor Ryan. Any discussion on the motion, Councilor Palmer?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, it'd be a friendly moment, but that's the motion from the committee of the whole. I think it would be better drafted that the draft PRC 9 ICE allocation policy be formalized or adopted.
Okay.
It's just a wording thing there.
Okay, so that okay with the mover and the seconder?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have that, Ms. Rousseau, that change?
Yes, your worship. Thank you.
So we will then have any further discussion on the motion as amended. So we'll vote on the amended. All those in favor? And then voting on the amended motion that's before us. All those in favor? Motion's carried. I probably didn't need to do it twice. I see Mr. Palmer is up in the meeting. Anyway, it's done. Thank you. Moved on. Move on to 11A, Community Economic Development, ETSI grant funding application. Ms. Braun, can I put the motion on the table before you make your presentation?
Yes, your worship.
All right, someone want to make the motion for me, please? Councilor Charlotte.
That an application be submitted to the Economic Trust of the Southern Interior for funding through the Building Economic Development Capacity Funding stream to support planning for the City of Revelstoke Tech Strategy 3.0.
Seconder for the motion, please. Councilor Brooks Hill. Ms. Braun.
Through your worship to council, I wanted to first of all thank the current council for the support for our tech strategy and for the creation of our new incubation space. It's been transformative for our community, for our tech workers. And so today I am asking for your support in applying for an ETSI grant to seek funding for Tech 3.0, which will be the next iteration of our tech strategy. The background of my report highlights what we've accomplished in Tech Strategy 2.0, including things such as our CD data dashboard and our access to tech workers through an inventory of workers and a survey of their needs, which led to informing how we developed our tech space itself. So I wasn't planning a presentation, but I certainly will be happy to take any questions or any comments.
Any questions from council regarding the report? Council Palmer.
So yeah, just a couple of questions. What's the grant amount? And I'm just wondering if there's any direct impacts on our budget for 2023.
Through your worship to Councillor Palmer, the ask will be for the maximum amount under this stream of $50,000. We're working on the application right now, but we're looking for the maximum amount of $50,000, which will help us plan for Tech 3.0. We're intending to leverage that $50,000 with a larger ask within the next 6 months for either application to Pacific Hand funding or to Jerry, the new Ministry of Jobs, Economic Recovery and Innovation. And we actually were on a phone call earlier today about opportunities coming up in that ministry that have not been announced yet. So this initial planning grant will be leveraged to seek a larger amount. And no, there are no budget implications for 2023. The time of our tech strategy coordinator currently is covered under the remaining funds from our Tech 2.0. And otherwise it's core CD staff working on this project that is covered in the existing budget.
Great, thank you. Follow up, Council. Any other questions?
Maybe a question. So for clarity, so there's no ask to the taxpayer.
That's correct.
That's what I think we were trying to get to. Is that right?
Essentially, yes, thanks.
Good. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. Moving on to item B, free transit, three parts. Someone put number 1 on. Councilor Brooks Hill.
The provision of free transit service during the period of November 25th to December 2nd, 2022 for Welcome Week as a means of promoting the transit service to seasonal workers as a sustainable means of transportation be approved.
Seconder for the motion, Councilor Charlotte. Any discussion on this motion? Councilor Palmer and Councilor Elliott.
Okay, yes, thank you, Mayor Sulz. So I'll support the motion because I think it's a good thing to do. It's promotional, I guess. There's a bit of reticence again, just on the wording as a means of sustainable means of transportation. I don't believe our bus system is a sustainable means of transportation from an economic perspective, a social perspective, or and certainly not an environmental perspective. So you've heard that from me before, so I'm just stating it again.
Thanks for the clarification. Any other comments or questions, Councilor Elliott?
Yeah, I'm part of the transportation master plan has been, like, I don't know, we've gone over it with this council, but it's been a waiting for Godot. We've been promised this sort of overview or revision of our BC transit arrangement. And 3 years ago, we talked about free transit. generally to increase the ridership and get traffic off the streets. It still hasn't happened, and we're still tied to another year of BC contract with BC Transit. To me, it's time. Well, what do we need to do to make this happen as an option to improve our transportation system in town and the arrangement to make sense with BC Transit? It absolutely doesn't make sense. So it's time. I hope the next council will confront it and deal with it, which we intended to do, but we never got to.
All right, good, point taken. Any other comments on the motion on the table? Seeing none, I will call the question on number 1. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Someone want to do number 2, please? Councilor Brooks Hill.
That the provision of free transit service during the period December 31st, 2022 from 6 p.m. to January 1st, 2023 at 2 a.m. be approved.
Seconder for the motion, please. Councilor Charlotte. Any discussion on this motion? So that's for New Year's Eve. Councilor Charlotte.
I understand the frustrations from fellow councillors at BC Transit and the experience with it. I think it is part of a really strong active transportation and master transportation system. From what I understand, in previous years, the New Year's Eve service was mixed results. I don't know if there's an opportunity to better sync up the services with ongoing events, or make sure that advertising, that messaging of that transit service can be augmented somehow through those various different organizing parties. So whether that's New Year's Eve parties, making sure that the different groups know that these are an option, to be able to showcase this is when it's going to be hitting our event, to do an announcement inside the event to remind people, hey, the bus is stopping outside. If you want to catch a free ride home, now is your chance. But without that active nudging, I don't think we'll see the uptake that we're all hoping for, because people really do need to have their hands held for something like this. I think that as the tourism transit and the shuttle service get rolled in with BC Transit, I hope that next council will take this on and champion it. I know I was starting to have some stronger conversations with BC Transit attending those conferences. I tried to bring that back to our council. I don't know if I was as effective as I'd like to have been in that, but happy to sit down with anyone on the next council that's keen to continue to pursue this very important transition. I think as we roll in that tourism shuttle with our transit system, there's an opportunity there to be leaders within the BC Transit communities, but it's going to take a champion to be able to push that.
Good, appreciate it. Thank you for that comment. Any other comments? Saying none?
I would add that any action we take, we need a champion for, and it just doesn't need to be done in our council chamber and then forgotten about. We need to bring it to the table and keep pounding on the table and make it well known that this is what we're chasing, and sell it like you would any business proposition. We're trying to promote free traffic, promote road efficiency, recruit all the good things with mass transit. We need to sell it and then keep selling. We've not done that.
Good. All right. Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Item number 3, please. Councilor Burchell.
That $1,500 from the council contingency fund be allocated to the transit budget to offset the loss of fare revenue to the transit service during Welcome Weekend to cover the cost of providing free transit outside scheduled hours in the operating agreement over New Year's Eve.
Seconder for that motion, Councilor Charlotte. Any further discussion on that? Councilor Palmer.
Yeah, so I'll be opposed to the motion. Our round trip price of a bus is somewhere around $40. That's subsidized by the taxpayer. And I'm concerned about hiding some of those expenses through that aren't in the transit line item. I think this should be, even if we go over on that budget, that's where it belongs. It doesn't belong in the council contingency fund. So I'll be opposed to the motion.
All right, thank you. Councilor Charlotte.
Just a quick comment to disagree with my fellow councillor. I think in my experience, when you make a decision that's going to affect costs and revenues that is to a promotional item, then it's better to allocate that cost to that promotional item, so it actually separates that cost from the operational sustainability of the organization or the workflow.
Okay.
Keeps the two cleaner.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? Note that. Opposed?
Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Palmer's opposed. Councilor Ryan? You're opposed?
Yes.
Okay. So that motion is now defeated.
Motion on the table.
Okay.
That the $1,500 for the loss of fare revenue be allocated to the appropriate line item for transit service.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Ryan. Is that clear to staff where the funds come from?
Yes, Your Worship, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right,
So
Go ahead.
from my understanding, we're just expensing it where it should be expensed. This is transit.
coming out of
provision.
transit.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right,
It's a promotion.
any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? No, this motion is carried. All right, moving on to item C, development variance permit 2022-010. Someone want to put that motion on the table, please? Council Brooks Hill.
That DVP 2022-010 be issued at 807 Downie Street as in the package to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 6 meters to 5 meters, to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 1.5 meters to 0.7 meters.
Second for the motion, please. Councillor Sherlett. Ms. Comars, you're here. Do you have a bit of a presentation?
To your worship, no presentation, but staff are here to answer any questions should council have any.
All right, any questions, Councillor Palmer?
So just for clarification, the residents in the 100-meter zone have been notified, and did we receive any comments?
Ms. Comars?
I have not received any comments on this file in my email box or over the phone. There's also a public binder up in development services for people to come and look at as well, and we haven't received any at the front desk.
And in answer to your question, yes, those in 100 meters have been.
Yeah, okay.
So for this, I know this house because it's not very far from my residence. They're going to be, they took down an old garage that was straddling two neighboring properties, and are going to rebuild a new garage and need the setbacks just so they can get a regular sized car. That's the reason for the setback. So. All right, seeing no other comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Note this motion is carried. Moving on to item D, DVP 2022-011. Someone want to put that on the table for me? Councilor Brooks Hill.
Apparently.
Working overtime.
The development variance permit 2022-011 be issued as in the package to allow the front yard setback to be reduced from 6 meters to 2.2 and to allow the side yard setback to be reduced from 1.5 meters to 0.
All right, Ms. Comars, seconded by Councilor Sherlett. Thank you. Ms. Comars, comments on this development variance permit. I do have a question. The side yard setback being reduced to 0 meters. Does that mean the building will be right on the property line, or what does that entail, please?
The building is actually an existing building that was built in 1901. So it was built before our zoning bylaw came into effect, or there would have been zoning in terms of setbacks. So it's currently standing, it's already there and it's already within that setback.
All right, thanks
So
for
we're
that.
trying to bring it into compliance by bringing it to that 0 meter.
Good, and that's kind of what I had thought, but I just wanted to confirm. Councilor Palmer.
So through the mayor, then was this initiated by the property owner or by the city?
To your worship, to council, this was initiated through a building permit, and under review of the building permit, it was determined that a development variance permit would be required in order for this property to come into compliance, and if the applicant wants to continue with building this wraparound porch, it would also be required.
Then, yeah, just further, similar to the last question I had regarding the notification, any feedback, especially from the immediate neighbor on the 0 setback?
I've received no feedback at this time via email, by phone, or none at the front desk here at Development Services.
Great, thank you, Ms. Comer. Any other comments or questions, Councilor Palmer?
Yeah, so I think the mayor is sort of hinting at that zero setback. So the implications, so it was legal non-conforming before, so but now because of the permit request, it needs to have that variance. I guess I'm concerned, especially with the immediate neighbor, because that has potential long-term implications on the viability of their property. So I'm thinking out loud, but I'm just sort of wondering if there was any extra effort, especially for the immediate neighbor. Probably there wasn't, I suspect.
Ms. Comer's comment?
Through your worship, I haven't heard anything from the neighbor at this time. Those properties were built in 1901. Both of them were built during that time period, the neighboring property that is existing beside this one that is currently up for a DVP. The neighbor would have received the 100-meter notification letter, and they did not come in to voice any concern regarding this DVP moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And just seeing that it's been there for 100+ years, and it looks like they're enhancing this. I think it's a good thing to the neighborhood, and I personally am supportive. If there's no other comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? This motion has been carried. Thank you. Moving on to communications, Revelstoke Economic Development Commission meeting minutes of October 12th. Any comments or questions regarding that? Seeing none. Advisory Planning Commission minutes of October 18th. Seeing none. Heritage Advisory Commission minutes of October 17th. Seeing none. Ms. Rousseau, Ms. Floyd, do we have any questions from the press?
No questions from the press, Your Worship.
All right. We have no in camera, so this will conclude your last official council meeting. So I'm going to ask for termination of the meeting, moved by Councillor Ryan in traditional fashion, seconded by Councillor Brooks Hill. All in favor? Motion's carried. Your last council meeting has now been completed. Thank you so much for your service. And if you just wait for a couple moments, I just have a couple things I'd like to say.